the ability to think about or plan the future with imagination or wisdom. About building the kingdom, you have to come in with vision. Ever since I was a child, I had huge vision for my life. I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a professional violinist. I wanted to be a professional swimmer. I was a violinist. I was a great swimmer. I was in water polo. I was in choir. I was in all these things because I had great vision for my life. And I went to pharmacy technician school and I went to business school. By the age of 23, I was making over $40K. I was on my way to do great things. But I had to give up these things for God's kingdom. And you know, when you give up things for God's kingdom, it's not always easy, because if you are a visionary and you're a very creative person, you come into the kingdom knowing like, wow, I have great purpose. I'm going to make disciples of all nations, go anywhere, do anything. It's going to be awesome. And then you find out that it's difficult at times, right? That was me. Everything became checking off a list. Share my faith, check off. Good, study the Bible, check off. Follow up, check off. Things became a check up list because I started losing vision for my life in God's kingdom. And Proverbs 29:18 says, where there is no vision from God, the people run wild. But those who adhere to God's instruction know genuine happiness. When you see God's vision for your life, it is amazing and you are genuinely happy. If you look at many of the women's ministry leaders and evangelists, they have given up their own dreams, their own visions for their life. Many of us in this room have had great business jobs. We have been actors. We have been great dancers. We have done great things. I think of Frank, who's a bodybuilder and a dancer and an evangelist. He knows how to do great things, right? And he's still single. But, you know, we have been willing to give this up for God because we have been in positions where we can fall away. I was one of those people who almost fell away. And I have seen many, many daughters in the faith fall away because they didn't submit to God's plan. Come on. We have our own visions for our lives, our own plans, but do they match the plans of God's kingdom? But I want to share, a very, very challenging thing. We can have hope deferred as well. You see something great happening in your life in God's kingdom, and you're like, this is amazing. It is God's plan, and then it falls apart, and it hurts, and you don't know how to get up sometimes. And I think it is really important as disciplers, if you're discipling someone, you need to help your people have vision for their life. It is really important because I have had women in my ministry who are absolutely incredible and they just don't have vision for their own life. And you, disciplers, are the ones to help them. You're the ones to give them hope and faith. Because you know what happens? They will become visionaries like Lot's wife and look back to the world. Are you that person? Are you looking to the world? Are you having one eye here and one eye over there? If you are, you have lost vision and you're on the brink of falling away. But going back to hope deferred, I have had a lot of hope deferred. Most of you know that I have shared vulnerably about miscarrying and losing my fallopian tubes and everything. But that doesn't mean that I give up on my God, and that does not mean that I give up on hope. Because Psalm 145 verse 13 says, your kingdom is an everlasting kingdom and your dominion endures through all generations. The Lord is trustworthy in all of the promises and faithful in all he does. And God is so faithful. And to share vulnerably with all of you that I'm not giving up on vision to have a child. As this year, Anthony and I will be going through IVF. Find out what you're passionate about. If there's something that you have lost passion, get back to it. You know, Helen Keller once said, the only thing worse than being blind is having sight but no vision. Let's not be spiritually blind. Let's have sight. Let's keep vision. But let us have the great victories that God wants.
Wow, 3 of the best preachers I've ever heard in my entire life, especially the last one I like the most.